Hola, 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 YouTube. I am back. I got 5 things to talk to y'all about. But first, I got the Leafs swag on tonight because game 2 against Florida, another exciting game. A game that Toronto won. A game that they made this defending Stanley Cup champions look a little bit more regular than they usually look. So things are looking up in Leafland. We're always on the edge of collapse in our minds because that's what we're used to for the last 8 years or whatever. But this team so far proving to maybe be a little different. So high hopes, high hopes. Now, as to what I got up to this month, well, we got a little bit of everything. A couple books, some TV, some video games. Let's start with the finish of a series I was recently working on that I kind of blew through really quickly. The Cleric Quintet, which ends with the Chaos Curse. So, in this 5th and final book of the series, if you remember from the last book, Catterley and Danica and all those guys marched on Castle Trinity, and Catterley met up with his father, Abalister, who Catterley destroyed. And so we're directly in the aftermath of that battle, and Catterley and his allies are heading back home to the Edificant Library. So it's Catterley and his woman Danica, Dorigen, the evil female wizard that is now on their side. They're taking her back for judgment, but are going to fight for her to be, treated well because she did aid them and legitimately switch sides. Shaylee the elf, the Boulder Shoulder brothers, the dwarves, Ivan and Pickle, and then Vander the Furbolg. I think he died in the previous book, or maybe he dies in this one. I can't remember. But anyways, they're making their way back to the Edificant Library, but they have to wait till the end of the season because it's winter. So their return is being a little bit delayed. So in the meantime, at the Edificant Library, Dean Thobicus, who is now in charge, he's the one who Catterley influenced his mind to let them go on that adventure in the first place. And he fears Catterley's going to get back and basically take over the library and take the dean's place. And Catterley does plan on doing that, but he doesn't plan on doing it in a violent way or anything. But Dean Thobicus is sensing that's going to happen, and he senses more that's going to happen in a very bad way. So he's overreacting a bit, and he's riling up all the members of the library into preparing for Catterley's return and trying to get them all on his side in the meantime, while he has time before Catterley gets back, to try and influence them into being on his side and dealing with Catterley when he gets back. But there are worse things in play at the Edificant Library. Druzil, the little imp bat creature from the Netherworld, is in the region, and he has teamed up with Kirkin Rufo. If you remember Kirkin, he was a member of the Library of the Order there, but he's kind of a Weasley guy, and he turned on Catterley a few times, and eventually Catterley branded him with a mark telling that kind of shuns him from the library, and a mark he'll carry for the rest of his life. So he's basically living in squalor and resenting Catterley for what he did to him. So he teams up with this Druzil character, and he's like, the Chaos Curse is still, the potion is still in the basement of the library, sealed up. We can go get it and use it to, destroy Catterley and get our revenge or whatever. So they go into the crypt and are looking for it, and they find it. And Druzil, I think, attempts to recover it and take it for himself. But before he can do that, Kirkin is like, nope, it's all mine, and he drinks the potion. And Druzil's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that's an evil potion. You just drank it? So, like, Kirkin Rufo's all like, bleh, bleh, and he's going crazy, and it looks like he dies. They make their way out of the catacombs, and he's puking everywhere, and he's bleeding everywhere. So even though he's shunned from the library, the people that find him are like, well, we got to take him in, even though it's Kirkin and he's branded like he's not allowed in here. But look at him, he's in bad shape. So they take him in. But what the Chaos Curse does to him is it turns him into a vampire. He's going through a transformation, and so he's now not only a guy with a huge grudge and chip on his shoulder towards Catterley and all the people of the library, really, but he's now an undead creature with terrifying strength and influence. So Great. So back to Catterley and his charges. So they decide to split ways. Catterley and the dwarves are going to go to the I forget what it's called, but the place where they met the dragon in the last story, and got the dragon to fly them to Castle Trinity, because they're going to check out the aftermath of the storm that went through there that was cast by Abelister, and see if they can get in and see if the treasure's all still there, because Catterley has plans to build a huge cathedral with all those riches. So they go to check it out. In the meantime, he says, okay, Danica, you and Shaylee take Dorgan back to the Edificant Library and wait for me there. So basically, as they get closer to the library, Shaylee feels that, oh, okay, I've taken the girls far enough. I trust Dorgan now, so I'm just going to head back because I got to talk to my people in the forest. So she peels off from them, but she doesn't totally leave. She stays in the region, sensing that something's a little bit off. So obviously when Danica and Dorgan get back to the Edificant Library and go into it, they encounter serious trouble. Dorgan ends up getting roasted through her own means to try and defend Danica and save the day. So she's out of the picture. And then Danica, after putting up a good fight, gets taken captive by Kirkin. And he's always had feelings for her and resents that Catterley's the one that got her. So he has plans for her, let's just say that. So he's got her captive within the library, and he's turned all the people in there, the ones that defied him, he's killed them, and the ones that were kind of, well, I could be loyal to you, he turned them into kind of undead minions of his, sort of thing. So for the rest of the book, basically Catterley and the dwarves, and there's somebody else. Oh, Shaylee meets up with them eventually. They get to the library, figure out what's going on, and go, oh fuck. And Catterley really wants to press the fight because he knows Danica's in there and she's in trouble, but they're overmatched. They need to regroup. So there's all these little kind of strikes they plan on the library in Kirk and Rufo's situation, but it takes them a few tries before they finally come up with what looks to be their final plan. And I'm not going to tell you how it goes in case you ever want to read the book, but let's just say it's a really cool ending, a really cool series. This was my favorite book because it was so fast-paced. It was all action for the most part, and it involved vampires. So I thought it was a pretty cool finish. And the book was published originally in 1994. A fucking hell of a year other than Kurt Cobain's death. That one cast a huge pall on it. Still not quite over that. Another book from 1994. Another book in the Forgotten Realms series. Crown of Fire. This book, actually, is the sequel to a book called Spellfire, which I think I had in my possession like 2 or 3 of these Forgotten Realms books from back when I was a kid. I didn't have that many, but Spellfire was one of the books I had, and I loved it. So this is the sequel to it. So, hey, things work out sometimes, right? So, and then this is, if you see at the top there, it's the Harpers. So the Harpers are a group of do-gooders in the Forgotten Realms universe that are always on the side of good and want to vanquish evil, and they're very competent, but they're very secretive, and they're very awesome. So this is, I think they said maybe the 8th or 9th book in the Harpers series. So they all kind of lump together, even if they're not totally tied together in terms of the same types of stories and stuff. But in this book, so I don't remember Spellfire, I just remember I loved it. But basically there's a girl named Chandril, and she used to be just like a serving wench at a tavern or something, I think. And she always wanted adventure in her life, and in the first book she ended up getting it, and she somehow acquired the power of Spellfire. Now Spellfire is like, you have this ability to produce this lethal fire within your being, and you can shoot it out at anybody and just roast them to death, sort of thing. So it's a very powerful tool, and Chandril basically is like, well, I wanted adventure, but I didn't want this. So basically, as this second book picks up, her and her fiance or husband, Narm, who's like a minor wizard mage kind of guy. He's not that powerful, but he's got some tricks up his sleeve, along with a dwarf named, Delg, I think his name was. So they're on the run from the previous adventures in Spellfire, and they're in the Thunderlund Mountains or something like that. And basically, there's a couple of sects that really want to catch up to her and get her because they want the power of Spellfire for themselves. So the Cult of the Purple Dragon or something like that is one of the groups that are after her. But the most obvious ones are the wizards from Zhentarim, the Zent wizards, which have played into many other stories I've read so far. Oh, as well as the Malagrim, which are the shape-shifting beings. I think they were the main evildoers in the Night Parade book, if you remember that one from quite a few videos ago, back in the winter, I think. So the Malagrim. Actually, I think that was 2 winters ago, not last winter. Yeah, 2 winters ago. So there's all these people after them. So they're basically on the run this whole book, and they're trying to get to a place called Silvery Moon for some reason, and they're gonna go there via a place called Cormyr. So the whole time they're on the run, the Zents keep catching up to them. She keeps frying everybody, and eventually they reach some sort of mountain pass where kind of the last big battle goes on that drives Chandril kind of over the edge, because she's very emotional through the whole journey because she doesn't like violence. She doesn't like all the killing she's had to do, and she's really struggling dealing with it. So in this battle at this mountain pass, they meet up with a guy just not long before they get there, a guy named Mert. He's a big, heavy dude, but he's very competent. He can fight like a demon, and he kind of gains their trust eventually and leads them on this journey to try and take them where they want to go. But in this mountain pass, they get kind of ambushed, and a big battle ensues. And Chandril ends up taking out several very important Zent wizards and other personnel that they have. But Delg is killed in the process. So they eventually retreat. Mert has some tricks up his sleeve, like I said, and they retreat to a place. Fuck, I forget the name of it, but they're taken in by this. By the ruler of this place, I forget her name, but she's very friendly to them all. Mert seems to know everybody they run into, and they all seem to either owe him a favor or love him for whatever reason, and always help him out. So they lie low here, but then the Zents eventually catch up again. So after this battle, Chandril is finally like, I've had a fucking enough. Send me to Zhentarim. I'm gonna take the fight to Manshun. Manshun is the head Zent leader who's causing all this chaos. She's like, I'm gonna go kill him. We're gonna finish this. I'm tired of all this running and all this killing. So this leader of the region where they go to for safe haven, I forget her name. Like I said, she helps Chandril get to Zhentarim, and she's there all on her own with her Spellfire. And she immediately starts taking the fight. She kills all these beholders, which are these like big round creatures with eye stalks all over them. Something right out of the Doom games, probably. You know what I mean? And she's doing well. She's killing lots of people. But the problem is that Spellfire takes a real toll on her. So when her friends find out where she's headed, they're like, "What the fuck? Like, we got to go after her." So, but they don't. Only Mert goes after her, and he's able to pull her ass out of the fire just as she's about to lose her edge and probably get killed or taken captive. And he knows people in the town, a couple of, what are they called? Basically hookers in a brothel. Pleasure queens, I think they're called in the book. He knows a couple of them, and so he takes Chandril and they gain safe haven with them, but it's not long before they're found out again. So they go on this big long run. They go through the sewers. They find a way to escape, and it all leads to a final battle against basically right in the middle of the courtyard in Zhentarim, where Chandril and Narm and everybody eventually catch up. So everybody joins the fray, and there's one final battle in the middle of the Zhentarim castles and main headquarters, and all hell breaks loose. So once again, I'm not going to tell you how it goes, but the good guys usually win in these stories, right? So you can kind of guess where it's going. But Either way, great book. Just like the Chaos Curse, just so much action and a lot of funniness too. There's a lot of hilarity involved in these books. I really love the Forgotten Realms series, like dragons and elves and dwarves and wizards and shit. It's straight out of Gauntlet, the game, right? Like I love that shit. Next up, a TV show, the full season of Power Rangers Dino Thunder. This, I think they said, is the 12th Power Rangers series, and it aired in 2004 originally. So in this series, it takes place in Reefside, California, which I believe is fictional, and it involves a past Power Ranger. So from the very original Power Ranger series, if you remember, there's a Green Ranger that came into the fray eventually, and he was kind of evil at first before he was reformed and brought into the fold. And his name was Tommy Oliver. And so he returns in this series, older, more experienced, and now he's a teacher. So he's known as Dr. Tommy Oliver. So he signs up to be a teacher of paleontology at Reefside High School. So once he gets there, one day he has a few students in for detention. Connor, who's like a star soccer player, Ethan, who's like a total computer nerd, and then Kira, who's a very musically inclined young girl, and she's hot as balls too. So he has them for detention one day and gets to know them a bit, and then eventually when they go on a field trip to, I think, a museum or something like that, the three of them take off somewhere and they end up finding these dino gems, which are basically the call to being Power Rangers. So, and of course, Tommy Oliver knows all about it. So he's kind of, once they find these gems and this change happens to them, he's like, you guys are now Power Rangers. So he kind of takes them under his wing and kind of brings them into the whole Power Ranger way of life. And so the main enemy they're facing in this series is a guy named Mesogog, and he's basically a man but with a dinosaur head sort of thing and claws and stuff. And he's a really cool looking character. He's got this really crazy voice, and then his eyes, when they move in his head, he's like, it looks so creepy. He's such a cool bad guy. So, and then his main minions are, I think, Zeltrax is one of them, and then a human girl named Elsa. And Elsa actually is undercover at Reefside High as the principal at the school, Principal Randall. So she's, they have an enemy right under their noses and they don't even know it. So they, of course, work their usual Power Rangers bad guy stuff. They send all these weird monsters after them, and when Power Rangers defeat them, they grow really big, and then they got to defeat them with their Megazords. And their Megazords are really cool because they're dinosaur themed, obviously. Connor has the Tyrannosaurus, Ethan has the Triceratops, and then Kira has the Pterodactyl. And so yeah, it's just basically the series. It's them fighting against Mesogog, but then a couple of other things come into play. A guy named Trent comes into their life, and he's the adopted son of a guy named I forget his name. He's like a really rich guy, but what they don't know is that he's actually Mesogog. During like a lab experiment gone wrong, it caused him to kind of turn into Mesogog. So he's not always Mesogog. Sometimes Anton Mercer, that's his name. Sometimes he's Anton, sometimes he's Mesogog. So he's kind of living this double life, and he can't really control when this change comes over him, sort of thing. So Trent eventually finds the white dino gem, and Tommy finds the black dino gem. So Tommy becomes the Black Ranger and joins the force, and then Trent becomes the White Ranger, but he's kind of evil at first. He's working against the Power Rangers, but they eventually bring him into the fold, and eventually he discovers his father's secret, but he keeps it secret because he's trying to find a way to, save his father and beat Mesogog at the same time, sort of thing. So over the course of the series, you'll see episodes based on kind of each character and their kind of theme. Like with Connor being the athlete, there's some that involve like an athletic bent to the episode. With Ethan being the computer nerd, in one episode they're like him and Kira are brought inside of a computer program, and it's kind of a virtual thing, you know what I mean? And then Kira has many musical moments throughout the series. And then, of course, they always have the episode where they bring back the Power Rangers from the previous series. So in this one, the 3 Rangers from Ninja Storm come back, but they're being controlled by Mesogogs, so they come back working against the current Power Rangers from Dino Thunder. But Cam, the other Ranger from Ninja Storm that came along afterwards, he's also come back, and he helps sort the Ninja Storm Rangers out and get them on side. And then also the girls that used to work for Lothor, and Lothor's back too, working alongside Mesogog, but of course being bad guys, they eventually turn on each other and it all goes to shit. But the girls that used to work for Lothor and then turn good, the ditzy girls, the one with the pink hair, was it Maura and shit, forget their names, but they're back in the episode too, and I always really enjoyed watching them. They were pretty funny. So yeah, everybody's back. They have that episode, and then of course, as the series unfolds, eventually the Power Rangers get the job done and finish things off, sort of thing. So really enjoyed. There hasn't been a season of Power Rangers that I haven't liked. They've all been good in their own way. It's just there's some that are definitely better than others. I love them all, but you get, depending on the type of Zords they're using, the setting they're in, the characters themselves, like all those factors kind of influence. Like, ooh, I really like this one the best, and then this one's good, but it's not as good as I really like the contrast between all the, even though they're so similar in the format of the way each season unfolds, but just those different things that go into each season make them all so distinct. And I really like, exploring a new season and seeing what's this one going to be about, right? So naturally, I can't wait to get into the next one. Next up, a video game released in 2023. Obviously, it's F1 23. I had to get an F1 racing game for the PS4. Like I think I have 16 or 17, so it's been a while. And I wanted to see kind of what the newer ones were all about, and I really enjoyed it. It's got quite a few modes in it. You've got like a quick race you can do. You got local split screen you can do. You got online multiplayer that you can do. I can't remember if they had a franchise mode or not, but the 3 main modes that I kind of dabbled with was a season mode, so you can just race through a season on the F1 circuit and see how you do, and it can be custom length, however many races you want. F1 World was a more in-depth world that kind of didn't make a lot of sense to me. I didn't really enjoy it. Maybe if I'd spent more time on it and figured it out, but I don't like these games where there's so many things you have to do just to kind of do a simple thing. Like the same thing with Fortnite, like all the crafting and fucking, like, can I just play the game? Can I just have a weapon and go play the game? Like they overcomplicate these games so much, and F1 World to me was F1 23's version of that overcomplication. So I dabbled in it and quickly realized it's not really for me. I'll move on. So season mode is great, but my favorite part of the game is a mode called Breaking Point. So I guess I looked it up. So in this one was actually Breaking Point 2. So in F1 21 they had like a mode that you could play through that was basically filmed like a documentary or something like that covered this team and these 2 drivers on it. I'm not sure if they're actually on the same team in that, but either way, they covered these 2 drivers throughout the season, a guy named Devin Butler and then Aiden Jackson. So after the events of that season of Breaking Point. So in Breaking Point 2 in this game, it picks back up with these same 2 drivers, and they're now racing for the same team, a fictional team called Connor Sport, and it goes through 2 seasons, so the 22 and the 23 season of how their seasons went at Connor Sport, and you get to race along during the actual race thing. So like I said, it's filmed like a documentary, so like there'll be like interviews with drivers or team principals or team owners or whatever about the happenings that are going on at the time, and then you'll be thrown into a race and given a certain objective, and you'll see the action play out as you race through the game, and these cutscenes and stuff like that. And so as the season goes on, like Aiden and Devin are having a hard time working together. Devin eventually has to retire because he's got tinnitus. And Devin is the son of the team, the guy who funds the team, a rich guy named David Off Butler, who says, if you guys, and this team is struggling, so he says, if you guys don't finish 5th or better in the standings this year, I'm pulling the funding. No more Connor Sport. But they need a new driver because Devin had to retire, so they bring up a girl from F2 named Callie Meyer, who is actually Devin's sister, Davey Doff's daughter. Daughter and father don't see eye to eye, so it's just throwing more drama into the mix. So it's just this story through the whole mode that you get to see unfold, and it's a really neat way of having like a story mode in a sports game, which is so hard, right? Because sports are just sports. Like, you just play the game, or you race, you run the race, whatever. So I felt like this was a really clever, fun mode, and it really added a lot of value to the game. The game controls great, looks great, sounds great. I really enjoyed this thing front to back. Other than, I said, like, that F1 world was just not the mode for me. The only problems we had with the game is when me and James were playing together split screen. It would eventually straighten out. It's usually at the start of the race. If you watch some of the gameplay footage on my channel, I think there was only a couple times we recorded 2-player, but so much lag at the start of the race. Like, it's just like, it's almost like freezing for a few seconds and then going a bit. Like, it was brutal. So I don't know why that is, but that seems like something they might want to iron out on well, I think 24 is already out, but hopefully they did that. But that made the 2-player mode a little less fun. It was still a lot of fun because, like I said, it's usually only at the start of the race, and then it kind of evens out. Maybe once the cars spread out or something. I don't know. But either way, great game. Highly recommend. I think it's cheap now that 24 is out. So a nice automatic, easy pickup to add to your gaming collection. Last up, a game I downloaded on the Switch a couple years back, probably, maybe more. Originally released in 2019. Hella hard. It is called Blazing Chrome. So Blazing Chrome, designed like an old style side-scrolling shooter. Very comparable to Contra. That's the most common comparisons it gets. Great comparison to get because Contra is fucking amazing. The story is that it's the year 21XX, so we don't know exactly when, but basically an apocalypse has happened on Earth. A lot of the human race has been wiped out, and a robot army has taken control and is intent on wiping the rest of humanity out. So you fight as 2 soldiers in the resistance against the machines, a female named Mavra, something like that, and then a reprogrammed robot named Doyle. So there are 6 total levels in the game. There's 4 available off the start, and then once you beat all 4, 2 more become available. So you can play the first 4 in any order. And yeah, you just side scroll, run and gun, shoot away through the levels. The bosses are usually always like a mechanical kind of thing, and there are a few different pickups you can get. There's 4 different guns in the game. You have your standard machine gun, but then you can get like grenade, some sort of weird laser thing. I think there's this like weird energy whip, and then maybe a fire thing or something. I know there's 4 of them, but I forget what they all are. And then there's 3 other pickups you can get. Well, there's extra lives you can pick up, but the other main ones are these capsules that release something that'll help you. And there's 3 different things that can help you. There's an offense one, so this little droid floats near your head, and then every time you shoot, it shoots too, so you get double the firepower basically. Then there's a defensive one, so it puts up this shield around you that allows you to take 2 hits before you take actual damage and die. And then there's a speed one, which increases your foot speed as well as your rate of fire with your weapon. So other than that, there's not much in terms of pickups. You can jump, you can roll, you can grab onto ledges and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just this game is so much fun, um, and very comparable to Contra, where there's so much going on the screen at any one given time. Sometimes you'll lose yourself and you lose what's going on. You're like, okay, what the fuck am I looking at here? Which makes it fun in a weird sort of way. And but like I said, hard. I was playing it on my own for the longest time. I think I got once. I think I could get through the first three levels, but then the fourth one was just a fucking bitch. I got to the end guy and I just couldn't get it done. So I was like, oh, now that my buddy Simon is going to be coming over to my place on video game night for half the time, I said maybe we can try this 2-player and beat it. And we did. It took us a couple weeks, maybe 3 attempts, but and we got stuck on one boss for a long time. But we did eventually manage to get the game beat, and we felt pretty accomplished afterwards. But the game it's perfect, other than the hardness level, which kind of sucks, but is also kind of fun in a weird sort of way. But it looks fantastic. It plays great. It is such a good job at making a new game that seems like an NES game, right? I think it's probably the best game I've seen do that, except for what's that one I played? Prison City. Prison City, I think, is the best recreation of an old NES style game that's been made new. It was perfect, but Blazing Chrome is pretty close behind it, and just has a huge fun factor. It's an amazing game. So, anyways, that's everything. I'm already working on a whole bunch of stuff for next time. Don't know how long it's going to take me to get there, but rest assured, I'll be back.
Meow.